So basically, Stephanie had given us some tickets to go see the Fathom event, Walking Dead, which is an event that PallyFest holds every year. Um, well, they hold it for many other shows, but the one I chose was Walking Dead, and Stephanie wanted us to give our experience while viewing it. So it was basically a Q&A session that was that was live on March 1st, but in viewed in theaters today. So it was basically between that, seeing some behind the scenes footage that no one else would ever get to see, and just getting more of a look into what the creators and writers had in mind when they were putting this season or the whole series together. So basically, the moderator was Chris Hardwick. For those of you who do watch Walking Dead or watch it after he does the whole Talking Dead series, I mean, yeah, Talking Dead show, which, funny enough, does better than most other shows, and it's not even an actual show itself, but just talking about what happened in that episode of Walking Dead after it occurs. So first they gave like a special they gave like 10 minutes of footage um, for the episode that most of us already saw last week on Sunday because of course the live show was on that Friday. So we got to so they went through that, which was the whole car scene with Rick, Michonne, and Carl as they were heading towards that town, and of course leaving behind that hitchhiker who kind of deserved to die. You know what he did. So basically after that, it went through a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff where basically first they took us to Woodbury. Um, basically the part where you see all the people trying to leave this the town, and then you have Andrea trying to keep them keep them from leaving basically. And next there was the zombie effects, which I actually found interesting. Um, like you could tell how much detail they went into it because they actually looked real, and uh, it was interesting to see how they really had that effect from when you're being attacked because they actually they would actually have meat that they would actually have the meat, and then they would have what looks like a condom full of fake blood on top of that, and then covered with another layer of skin and whatever and whatnot. And then basically it's when they bite down to it that they just start ripping apart and getting all that blood effect and whatnot. Um, it was also interesting to see how some of the staff would turn themselves into zombies. The actual writer made himself a zombie who Andrea killed in one episode. The guy who works with the animals, he turned himself into he got himself to become a zombie in one episode. And no, he wasn't a zombie. He was one of the townspeople, and they killed him off within 2 episodes because he wanted something to do. Um, and then they were talking about how the governor, how in every scene he really just pops out. He really stands out in every episode. I mean, in every scene that he's in. And cause it's not that because what they wanted to do, they wanted to set him apart from in the comics where he was just plain evil. In the show, they wanted him to be a lot more humane. They wanted him to have that descent into descent into madness, which is basically the same thing that's also happening with Rick. So they also were talking about that one part where Andrea, where she basically curb stomped that zombie. They basically took us through that whole process, how they had how they had the real guy, how they had the real guy, and how what we saw that what she was stomping, what she was chopping up was really a mechanical copy of him, which is actually pretty interesting. Um, then let's see. Then he also took us through how Michonne, how everything that you see, that all the hacking and slashing is all digital. Even that one part where Rick is against the wall and that zombie is like right at his face. How that one arrow that comes through that zombie's face and it almost hits his face was all CGI. Like you would have never believed it until they actually told you or showed you. Um, but beyond that, they're basically talking about how how far the season has come, how each character has bonded, how each character. This basically talked about their relationships, like how Michonne and how Andrea, how it wasn't really that it wasn't really that Andrea left. I mean, just abandoned Michonne. She had to stay for the townspeople because she's trying to look at the big picture. She's done running. She's done hiding. She wants to find a community, and she found that, and she couldn't just give that up or leave those people high and dry. As to Michonne, it really wouldn't have mattered where they went. She would have been unhappy. She really only wanted Andrea to herself. She built that bond over those 8 months, and basically when Andrea chose the town and the governor over her, she kind of felt betrayed. She felt that Andrea's loyalties were in the wrong place. So basically, that point where they that point where they had that confrontation during I'm Not Judas, that basically was an accumulation of all the show's anger and rage over feeling betrayed, lashing out at Andrea, and that's probably what has helped her in this more recent episode open up a bit more now that she's gotten all that out of her chest. Let's see what else. Then they were talking about how characters like, darn, what's her name? I keep forgetting. Betty. Either way, the younger one that's apparently older. How she brings a lot of humanity to the group with her singing and whatnot, because she's one of those down to earth. She doesn't really let everything get to her. Besides the time that she tried to commit suicide, or and then they were talking about uh, Glenn's transitioned from a delivery boy to Arnold Schwarzenegger, because he basically just does what he wants now. He thinks he's leader. He thinks no one else is. He thinks he's more capable than everyone else. Um, he thinks Rick has lost it, though he also has lost it to some extent as well, because he's let his anger at Merrill, the governor, and just everything else get to him, and that's kind of blinding him at the moment. Um, you have Carl, who's basically went from the burden to hero. He's or child soldier, which is something that we've all enjoyed so far, which is why every moment that's up to now in which he's just gone pow pow pow, we're all just going. So yeah, so that was basically most of it. Besides the questions in which they were talking to us about why the game is so different, why the comic is so different, and why the show is so different. It's because they want to give people different perspectives of the series. It's about fight. It's about fighting zombies and dealing with humanity, or what little humanity you have left when you put into that situation. That's why you don't see. That's why they all follow a similar storyline, but they don't. But they no no. they follow the same concept but not the same storyline, which is why they're never going to be similar in any way. Like the TV show and the comic, you can have the same characters and whatnot, but the continuity is going to be very different. This isn't gonna happen then. That's not gonna happen here. This you're not gonna meet this person there. This person could die any second. Basically, in the TV show, one person could be alive 1 minute, next person could be dead the next second, just like that. Um, it was actually really interesting. I mean, the best part about it was the fact that I was basically the only person in the theater, like literally the only person there. Like of 600 theaters worldwide that are showing this, and I'm the only one in that one watching it. I mean, I actually liked that because I just took off my shoes, sat back, and enjoyed the whole thing because the host was really funny. The whole thing was actually very funny. The actors were very funny, and not to mention some of the questions were between some guy asking them if the meat tastes like chicken or if the cast saw zombies in their sleep. So, was it a good experience? Yes, because I love the show. I got a little more of an eye opener as to what to expect, um, and what, and just a breakdown of what we've seen so far. Like for example, um, all the hate that Andrea gets, I'm starting to see that it's really unnecessary. They think that what she's doing is just being they think that she's just being oblivious and naive. It's not. That's not the problem. She represents hope. She represents what little humanity some of them try to maintain. She's the mediator between both groups. She doesn't want to choose one over the other, and she definitely won't take a life to save the other. So we'll see how that plays out when both finally clash, and we see what she will do to maintain that peace. So that's about it. Excelsior.